After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players.
And one thing that she said that really stuck out to me was about Christy Size actually having major control over this Fever locker room.
What if I told you the WNBA's Golden Girl was fighting a secret battle behind the scenes? Caitlin Clark's rookie season wasn't all smooth sailing. The former Fever president just spilled some tea, and it's hotter than we thought. Clark might be changing the game, but she walked into a team with some serious baggage. Think about it. How does a pro team start 1-8 with a generational talent? The answer might shock you. Let's break down the Fever's rocky start. It wasn't just about losing games, it was a full-blown locker room meltdown. We're talking tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. And at the center of it all, head coach Christy Sides. Now, don't get me wrong, Sides is a talented coach, but according to former Fever president Allison Barber, she had an iron grip on that locker room.
Big fan of our head coach, Christy Sides. She's really controlled the locker room, and that's what it comes to in sports, is who can control the locker room.
And not everyone was happy about it. You know how they say too many cooks spoil the broth? Well, in this case, one cook was turning up the heat way too high. But wait, it gets even crazier. Remember Nalissa Smith? The fans were all over her, and not in a good way. Why? Because of her relationship with DJ Khan.
Was and still possibly could be a big cancer in their locker room, dealing with her relationship with DJ Carrington.
Yeah, you heard that right. Fans were convinced it was messing with her game and her playing time. Talk about drama. Barber dropped some serious hints about this. She said the locker room issues were a hot topic all season long.
And one thing that she said that really stuck out to me was about Christy Size actually having major control over this Fever locker room. Key to why we didn't see her, because if Christy Size has control like that over the locker room and what was transpiring online, bruh, with what we were seeing.
And get this, she suggested that Sides' control might have had something to do with Smith's reduced playing time. I mean, can you imagine trying to play your best game with all that going on? Now, you might be thinking, where does Caitlin Clark fit into all this? Well, here's where it gets good. While everyone else was caught up in the drama, Clark was like, nah, I'm here to play ball, which she came in with this team-first attitude that was straight up contagious. Picture this. You've got all this chaos swirling around, and in walks this rookie who's just focused on making her teammates better. It's like she brought a breath of fresh air into a room full of smoke. And you know what? It started to work. Just when everyone thought they had Clark figured out, she pulled a move that left the WNBA scrambling. It wasn't a no-look pass or a buzzer beater. No, this play happened off the court and it threatened to change the game in ways no one saw coming. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's on-court magic. This girl's passing skills are out of this world. She's not just racking up assists, she's building a whole team vibe. Imagine a player who'd rather set up her teammates than pad her own stats. That's Clark for you. She's all about making the Fever work as a unit, not just shining solo. But here's where it gets wild. Clark's impact isn't just limited to the hardwood. She's thinking big picture, and I mean big. Get this. Clark walked into the WNBA office with an idea that had jaws dropping. She asked for spot bonuses for away team players. Yeah, you heard that right. The rookie wanted to spread the wealth.
After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players. She said,
wow,
we're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Could they get a spot bonus?
Why? Because Clark's presence was causing sellouts left and right. She saw all this new cash flowing in and thought, hey, shouldn't everyone get a piece of this pie? That's some next level thinking from a first-year player. Allison Barber, the former Fever president, spilled the tea on this. She said Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players. She said, we're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Talk about team spirit extending beyond your own squad. Now, you'd think the WNBA would jump at this chance to spread some goodwill, right? Wrong. They shut it down faster than a Clark fast break.
Barber broke her silence about this entire situation, and I'm telling you right now, it has stunned a lot of WNBA fans.
The answer was no, by the way, because
Yeah, I
it's
was
a
gonna say,
collective
so did they do
bargaining
that?
agreement, and the Players Association couldn't do
But
it.
it is a little bit like the Michael Jordan effect, right? So, you know.
The league said it was a no-go because of the collective bargaining agreement. Rules are rules, I guess, even when a superstar's trying to change the game for the better. While Clark was busy changing the game, some were busy trying to change the narrative. From awkward press conferences to questionable calls on the court, the WNBA's new star found herself in uncharted territory. How did she handle the heat when it seemed like the whole world was watching? Let's talk about the media circus that followed Clark everywhere she went. You'd think they'd treat her like the superstar she is, right? Wrong. During one press event, things got super weird. A reporter made this cringy hands heart gesture at her and then stumbled through a question that had everyone face palming. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. But that's not even the worst of it. The media scrutiny got so intense, it was like Clark couldn't breathe without someone analyzing it. Every move, every word, every shot, it was all under the microscope. And you know what? She handled it like a champ. While everyone else was losing their minds, Clark just kept her cool and focused on the game. Speaking of the game, let's talk about what went down on the court. You won't believe this. Clark got hit with a technical foul during a game against the Las Vegas Aces. Fans were going nuts, saying it was totally unfair. I mean, come on, refs. What are you looking at?
You know, she is one technical foul away from potentially being suspended a game, and that is causing a lot of concern all over this nation. Hey, basketball, are you serious? It's stunts like these that is causing a lot of fans to, discredit this league.
People were all over social media yelling, no way they gave Caitlin Clark a technical foul for this. And get this, that tech wasn't just a one-time thing. Clark racked up 6 of them during the season, one more, and she'd be looking at a suspension. Can you imagine? The league's hottest new star benched because of some questionable calls.
I think the referees will do a little bit more in trying to make sure the star of this basketball league do not get suspended.
I think she got fouled and missed those 2 free throws, and then got frustrated with the officiating at times.
Fans were losing it, thinking the refs had it out for her. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not everyone was buying into the Clark hype. You know Gilbert Arenas, right? The former NBA player? Well, he had some things to say about Clark's impact on the WNBA. He was like, if the WNBA was an F and it's going C, a little impact seems like it's great. Ouch, Gilbert, that's cold. But you know what? The numbers tell a whole different story. Clark's rookie season, it was off the charts. We're talking record-breaking attendance and viewership. One game against the Chicago Sky became the most watched Ion game in network history. That's not just a little impact, that's changing the game. So what's the real story here? Is Clark really making a difference, or is it all just hype? Well, let me tell you something. This girl isn't just changing stats. She's changing the whole vibe of women's basketball. Every time she steps on the court, she's not just playing for herself or her team. She's playing for every girl who's ever been told she can't make it in sports.